Hello, hello, hello. Dr. Doula here. Coming to add some value to your day and a drop of lifeline. I keep thinking about this over the past few days, and so I was like, well, today I'll just say it. I want to encourage you to take up space. And noticed a special kind of thing. A lot of times when we're not taking up our God-given space for ourselves, for our visions, for our destiny, we sometimes seek to take up space in other people's worlds, in other people's visions, and in other people's destiny. You can see it like if you're online and it's like, oh, it's a troll on this live. Can we get rid of them or whatever? They're taking up space in someone else's vision. Some of us for years, decades, whatever else, have helped build other people's visions and get upset even when we find that maybe the thing that we really feel should happen and this would help this thing grow so well if you will go with what I'm saying. We get upset when they don't go with it, and part of that is because that's not your space. It's just evidence that it's kind of like a young man or young woman is like, I want to do like this. I'm your child, I'm your this, but I want to do this, and it's your home. Well, that's fine, but you're in my space right now. You're trying to take up my space with yourself, your vision, and your destiny. It's just an indicator that it's time for you to take up your own space. And the thing is that some of us are waiting for permission to do that. We are waiting for someone to say it's okay. I actually heard someone say that about some minority thing or whatever. They were like, people need to allow us to take up space. People need to give us this thing. People need to do that. No, we as our God get in all my godness and all that I am, I get to choose. Hey, Louise, I get to choose whether I'm going to take up space or not. When we find ourselves complaining a lot, when we find ourselves ornery and not liking this and I don't like that, often it's because there's a space that you're supposed to be taking up that you're not. And you're inserting your energy, your space into someone else's. When that happens, it often causes risk because they're taking all the risk for a thing. Okay, they're taking all the challenges of a thing, and you're just offering like, hey, this is a great idea. This will really, really work. If they don't feel like that works, then you get pushback and you're like, oh, people don't see my greatness. But do you see your greatness? Okay, so they don't see, but do you see it? And what is that telling you to do? What does that mean for you? It's time for you to take up space with yourself. Some of us walk into a room and we'll be so timid. We don't even want to take up space with our bodies. We come in, I just want to be invisible. And I'm not saying take up space. Hello, everyone. I'm not talking about that. There's a way that we can say, I belong here. And some of us are walking into spaces not feeling like we belong in a place. Take up space with your body, not by flailing and everything. Be okay taking up space. You belong here. You belong. Allow your vision to take up space. What is it that you are looking for that's in someone else? And if only they would do this. You're not even giving room for your own visions, for your own dreams. Because sometimes it makes us more critical. It makes us more criticizing, because the way to do this is, if only they would do this thing, then get out there and do it yourself. You might find that you have more compassion for those that you criticize because they are doing a thing and they're having to navigate other spaces. Those places where we are, where we've been welcomed in and we can assist. It's beautiful. It's beautiful when we are able to go in, offer our assistance, let me tell you, I have been in so many situations where things are not the way that I would do them. But in that moment, I'm assisting a person. I'm assisting someone else. I allow that to be a learning thing. Like, that didn't work out well for them. Let me do something different myself. But what space are you supposed to be taking up? I take those lessons and then I go and I say, when I take up space with my vision, I'm going to remember the lessons I learned here. And then I'm going to allow those to help me expand. Take up space. Why am I talking about the other people so much? I'm saying it because we're using that as excuses. We're making excuses for why we are not doing some of the things that we know we are supposed to do. We are not taking up our space in this world. We're not taking up that space. And when you are not, you will begin to complain more than you need to. Because this is what I can promise you. If you're looking at what it takes to take up space in your world, your mind is going to be so focused on, listen here, Spirit Creator, God of all the universe, help me. You're going to be so focused on the things that you need to get done. The things that you need to figure out, that you're going to have compassion for those that are working things out. You're going to understand, well, why did this person just seems like they always whatever. You're going to say, oh, have a few experiences. You'll be more compassionate. I'm encouraging you to take up space for two reasons. One, because that's why you're here. That's why you agreed to come here. That there's an agreement you have with Creator. That you will come here and you will take up space. But the other one is so you can stop being distracted by so many things. Because if you truly begin to take up space, there will be less complaining about what someone else is doing. Because you'll be looking with the eyes of empathy and compassion. And you will be like, oh, that must be really tough to navigate all of that. I just want to encourage you, take up space. Hey, Radikita, take up space. Take up your space. You actually have space. You don't, the program that they're doing, you don't like it. Okay, fine. Where's yours? You're going to sit and complain about what they're doing, or are you going to get to do what you're supposed to be doing? Because when you get on that, you'll be busy. You'll be figuring things out. When you stop looking at what other people are not doing and you get to doing what you're supposed to, trust me. The focus that it takes and attention and intention that it takes to live what you are destined and what you agreed to live on this planet will keep your heart right. I love you too, Radikita. Dr. Moore. I think that's all I wanted to say. Y'all take up space. Take up space. And I'm not saying it in the, unicorns and butterflies. I'm saying take up space so we can get about doing the things that we said we would do here on this planet. So that we can be about our Father's business. So we can be about the work of Spirit birthing more in this world. Some of the reason things haven't changed is because you will not take up your space. Because you're in other people's spaces, and because it's like, this is my last point. I gave the example about the birds in a different video, so I won't again. But I used to tell people, I have my 4 sons, and I could tell when they were starting to take up space. It was like literally when they walked through, it was like I could feel them. They were getting, you could just feel them getting bigger. And so I made contingencies that said, listen, I want you to plan for what you're going to do after high school. Now, at the time, people thought, oh, you're just putting your kids out. You just don't want them to stay. No, what I understood was that these young men were going to want to take up space because I saw them swelling. I saw them not physically, just physically getting bigger. I saw them just, and I knew it was going to happen. And Spirit told me through this little nest outside the window that at a certain point, they would get where that you will feel that more. It will feel uncomfortable in the nest with so many birds that have matured, right? Here's the point. So I said, okay, what preparations are you making? It's like, you have to do something. Listen, you're going to want to be out and come when you want to. But I have other children that I'm raising. You can't do that here. So what's your plan? Why? Because they need to take up their own space. What do you need help with? How do you need us to help you plan? Is college your thing? We recommend it. But if not, then what are your other options? Because you can't take up that kind of space here. And that's what I mean. When we get in places, some of the chaos is because we are in other people's spaces trying to take up space when it's time for us to start extending ourselves. And then what happens? Well, what happens then is that the boys get out and they're, whoa, there's a lot of responsibility. Whoa, this adulting thing is not all that. Woo, that's a lot. And they start seeing that this adulting thing is a real thing. All of a sudden, the things that they thought was so unfair from me and their dad that didn't make sense. Oh, it makes sense. I laughed when my second told my third, like, don't wear shoes in my place. You can't come in my house with shoes on. And he was like, what? Please. Basically saying, we done destroyed mom and daddy's house together. What are you talking about? Right? He was like, no, you can't come in my house with shoes on. No, this is how I do stuff in my house. Oh, see, when you get your own space, when you start taking up your own space, you have more understanding of what's happening. Take up your space. And what I'm really saying is take personal responsibility for your life and start doing those things that you were put here to do. Stop making excuses for why it's not happening and take up your space. Exercise those muscles that you have internally, those gifts, those gifts and talents that are wanting to come out through you. You're staying in a safe place and wreaking havoc when you know that you're supposed to be taking up your own space. Go ahead and spread your wings. Go ahead and spread your wings. Go ahead and bring more of God's glory to this planet. I love y'all. That's all I had to say. Take up space, y'all. Take it up with your physical body. Walk in there strong. Allow your vision to take up space. Take up space. And allow the manifestation of your destiny to take up space. There is more than enough room for you. Creator wouldn't have you here if there wasn't room for you. Take up space. Bye. Can I cut this off? There it is. Well, I guess it doesn't want me to cut it off. Am I cutting it off? There.